Alain Godard, Chief Executive of the EIF, European Investment Fund. Welcome to IPEM. Here we are, face to face, talking. Lots of people behind us in the background having a good time networking. You've been here now for a day plus. What are people saying to you? What's the atmosphere like?
I think first of all, it's great. to be back here physically, and I see a lot of enthusiasm around me. So it's a great pleasure to indeed network with people, meet people that you haven't seen for months now. So quite good time.
What are some of the main topics and themes that seem to be coming up in the panels, conversations, workshops that you're hearing? Is there one or two really key takeaways?
I think my takeaway is the increasing importance of, let's say, sustainability topics, ESG, SDG, climate, social. I think that there's a lot around these priorities. Priorities, obviously, for the European Union. I think this is extremely important. Also very important for EIF as an institution, to put more emphasis on what would be our future of our economy.
So you mentioned sustainability. I agree. I've heard that quite a lot over the last 24 hours or so. The Green Deal, obviously, a major flagship macroeconomic effort that's being made, really pioneering in Europe. What sort of role do you think the EIF is going to have in helping to make that a success over the years?
Well, first of all, EIF will contribute to set up the guidelines, for making the investment more, let's say, greener and more, let's say, in line with sustainability. So we'll play our role to influence the policymakers in order to indeed promote, such thematic objectives. But we will also translate very concretely, these objectives into our own investment into private equity, as you know, but also venture capital.
And do you think there's generally going to be a much greater wave over the next 12 months of private equity firms tailoring products and solutions towards that sustainability agenda? Do you think we're going to see more and more of that coming?
I think so, because again, I was amazed to see that only 24 months ago, just prior to the COVID crisis, we were discussing about these objectives, but without really an articulated, let's say, approach to it. Nowadays, things are quite different. It's not only me asking the question about ESG, SDG objectives, but it's also, let's say, investors, LPs and GPs asking about what the EIF expects, from other investors and GPs. So I see an evolution clearly here, and I think this is a good sign for the future.
And look, maybe I can just get one more question in, conscious of your time. To really drive that Green Deal sustainability agenda, there's quite a bit of regulation. There's still quite a bit of framework to understand, sustainable finance disclosures regulations, Article 6, 8, 9, COP coming up, all these things. Do you think we're going to be entering into a new era of public-private partnership in the sense of more dialogue, more relationships, closer relationships?
I think the dialogue is already there for some time already, as you know. Specifically, as EIF has been created in a way as a response to, let's say, market failure. So de facto, we have this partnership in place for a long time, and since the creation of the fund. But indeed, you rise to say that there's a lot also to come, not only from, let's say, a top-down approach from the policymaker to, let's say, investors and at the end enterprises, but there's a lot to come from enterprises to, let's say, the policymakers, making and developing, for example, the standards, the references. And for that, there's an intensive dialogue to take place in order to make sure that what the policymakers expect is going to be delivered by at the end, the enterprises, the projects that we finance.
Yeah. Alain, thank you very much for talking to us, and enjoy the rest of IPEM.
Thank you very much. Thank you.